What is up everybody, this is Sebastian from Sebastian Fitness Solutions, and in today's video I'm going to share with you a gripping technique that, if you implement, will instantly help you lift weights with more strength and better execution than ever before. Now, when most people grab onto a weight for an exercise, they rarely, if ever, think about gripping the weight. I mean, what much more could there be to it, you must be wondering. I mean, you just grab onto the weight, right? Well, I want you to think back to an instance, any instance where you were doing an exercise, let's say a bend to a row, a pull-up or a deadlift, and you felt that your back could have gone for one more rep. But you had to terminate the set because the bar was slipping out of your hands. Your grip was giving out on you. And contrary to what you may think, this may not be because of having weak forearms or because of having weak gripping strength in general. It could very well be that the gripping technique that you're using is setting you up for failure, or at the very least isn't helping you make the most out of your existing gripping and forearm strength. And even if you're someone who hasn't really experienced this before or even noticed it, using the gripping technique that I'm about to share with you will help you lift that weight with an ease and command like never before. So you definitely want to pay attention to what I have to say. Now I'm going to divide this video into 3 sections. Number 1, what to do. Number 2, why to do it. And number 3, how to do it. Starting with number 1, which is what to do. Whenever you grip a weight that you're about to lift, you must grip it with a purpose. When that weight is in your palms, you must squeeze down upon it tight, like you're trying to crush the damn thing in your hands. Now, naturally, the weight being made of iron isn't going to get crushed in your palms, but the result of you doing this is going to be that you're going to have a grasp on that weight that is absolutely tight, like a vice grip, and that is exactly what you want. Now the question here is, why do you want that? Why is this necessary, and how does it help? To understand this, you need to understand the concept of the kinetic chain and body tightness. Now the topic of the kinetic chain is a very detailed one and deserves a video in and of itself dedicated to it, which is what I'm going to be doing, and you can check out that video for a more detailed understanding about the whole concept. But the short and simple explanation that I can give you is to consider the human body and its skeletal system as pieces. Pieces that are connected together by joints, by its joints. And just like a chain, these joints which are connected to each other are influenced or constrained by other links or joints that they're connected to either directly or indirectly. Now, whenever we exert force on any external object such as a weight, there is a transfer of force running through our bodies through these joints. So, if there is a slack at any point of this chain and its links, it causes or it affects the smoothness of the transfer of this force and causes a disruption in it. And this can result in dissipation of some of that force at some points. Now the whole point of using the gripping technique I'm showing you and to crush the weight that is in your hands is to eliminate any and all forms of slack that may be present between your point of contact with the weight that is your palms and the weight itself, thereby maximizing the smoothness of the transfer and therefore potentially improving performance and execution. So enough talk, let's finally get into the actual gripping technique and how to do it. Alright, so enough talk, let's finally get into how to use this technique. Now, one thing I want you to keep in mind is that almost always the weakest part of your grip is going to be this little pinky finger side. And it is in this spot that the grip tends to fail and open up first. So we need to make sure that this part is nicely tight and secure. That's probably going to be the most important part of that grip for it to be nice and strong. Now when most people grab onto a weight, what do? They'll just place their hands on the center of a handle or a bar and they'll just close their hands around it. That's it, right? Instead, what I want you to do is, I want you to jam your palm right there in the center and then wrap the fingers around one by one by one. Wrap them around, starting with the pinky finger. Now as you go around like this, wrapping one by one, you got to make sure that each finger is placed nicely tight and secure. And because you're going in one finger at a time, you'd be able to feel and tell exactly how tight and secure that finger is before moving on to the next one. And that way you go one by one by one then the next finger, and so on until you have all 4 fingers wrapped around. And then finally, you take that thumb and cross it across the closed fingers and seal it, jam it, and squeeze onto the index finger and the middle finger right there, crossed on there. And now you've got a grip like this, which is iron tight. My grip on this dumbbell is so tight that it's pretty much made my hand and the weight one unit. It's one with that weight. And if I were to shake this weight in my hand, it doesn't move inside my palm. Instead, it moves with it, like it's welded to it. It's one with it, like I just said, welded to the weight. And if I want to get this weight out of my hand, I have to literally pry my fingers away from it. That's how tight you want it to be. That's how iron tight the grip has got to be. Do this the next time you got to grab onto a weight for any exercise, and you instantly see an improvement in how easily and how efficiently you're able to handle that weight and perform that exercise in general. Now, another tip I have for you is this. While you're in this position, you've gripped this weight, try and put more focus and emphasis and squeeze down on the dumbbell towards the pinky side. And the reason I'm saying this is because, once again, it's the pinky side that ends up being the weakest of the grip and ends up failing first. So, and also the fact that the top portion, the thumbs and the first couple of fingers are sealed in very well now that you've got them wrapped around and the thumbs crossed. So, you'd much rather, because that's fairly well secured, you can instead put that focus and attention and that squeeze more on the pinky side, and therefore hold on to the weight a little bit better, a little bit longer, and keep that nice and tight over there as much as possible, right? So that's another tip to keep in mind. The third thing I want you to keep in mind is this. I want you to use this technique irrespective of whether you're doing an exercise that challenges your grip or it doesn't. What I mean by this is this. When you're doing a back exercise like a bend to a row or pull up, that's when your grip is actually working against resistance and you tend to fail there very often. Like in a bend to a row, the dumbbell may slip out of your hands. That's when the grip is challenged. But in exercises like chest presses or overhead presses, your grip isn't really challenged even though you're holding onto a weight. The weight is on your palm and there's no room for it to slip out because of lack of grip strength. It isn't really challenged there. So does that mean you shouldn't use it there? No, you should. You should use this technique even there, and for 2 reasons. Number one, even if it doesn't challenge the gripping strength, by using this technique, you will be able to maximize the kinetic chain by minimizing any form of slack between your hand and the point of contact of the weight, which is the dumbbell handle. By minimizing or eliminating any slack over here, you are able to make the kinetic chain extremely efficient and therefore allow for maximum transfer of force. It's an advanced concept. It's not something that you'd realize, if you're lifting pansy weights, but if you're trying to push your boundaries and lift the maximum potential, you will see a clear difference in your execution and how much weight you're able to lift, even if it's not even challenging your gripping strength. So you want to use it for that. And the second reason is that you want to make a habit out of this. The more you do this, the more you will reinforce it as a habit and let it become natural. Sure, in the beginning it may seem like work. You've got to think about it. You've got to think about how to wrap each finger around. But the more you do it and you master it and you keep practicing it in every time you do it, it will become like second nature. And you'll just be able to grab it nice and tight and get that grip very soon without thinking about it. And that's what we want. So this is the 2 reasons why you should incorporate this grip whenever you're grabbing onto a weight that requires gripping, whether it's a chest press or it's a bend to a row or any other exercise that you can think of. And that's about it, guys. Be sure to use this gripping technique the next time you grab onto a weight, and I personally guarantee you that you will see a drastic improvement in how well you're able to execute that lift. And of course, you get the bonus of having a bloody strong grip and making some awesome forearm gains too. That's all I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already, click that subscribe button right now and share this video with anybody else you think will find this information useful. And that's about it, guys. See you in the next video. But until then, keep learning, keep growing. Hey, thank you for watching that video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And finally, to watch another video, click right over here.